Hey, peace and blessings to you. My name is Jerry B. I am the entre musician, and so are you. And so is this talented brother to the left of your screen. I got to tell you, he's got credits, incredible credits. The only thing that, I had some trepidation about is he's a diehard Cleveland Browns fan. So, I mean, that might blow the whole thing, but I tell you what, number one hit songwriter. He's a music supervisor. He lost an Emmy, so we're going to have to learn what that actually
Me
means.
loser.
And he's written over 200 songs placed in film and TV. I'm happy to call him my friend. He is none other than Barry Coffin. What's going on, brother?
Not much. What's going on with you? You look good. You look kind of nice and relaxed.
Hey, I flossed for you today, so
Well, man, that's something special. But we're not gonna get that close, okay?
absolutely. So what's happening today? You doing good, bro?
Oh man, I'm having one of those days. I'm I'm speaking and doing mentoring at a conference in Canada.
Wow,
Which is really cool. In Eastern Canada, it's really well run. And
man.
then I did an investor pitch, and then I did a technology meeting, and then I'm doing this, and then I'm meeting with another group of people for an app that I'm building, and then I'm working on doing the voiceover for a film. So it is a full day.
You know what? You are what we call around here an ultra entre musician. I mean,
Yeah,
because not only do you have the creative tip going on as a songwriter and musician, but your business is always absolutely on point. But I guess one of the most important questions I have for you, Barry, is how did you get that cool voice?
which one?
That one.
uh, uh, actually, my whole family sings. So, my parents graduated class in 1960 and thought happiness was a place. So we
Yeah,
moved around a lot. And myself, my brother, my sister, and like the entire, I didn't know everyone couldn't sing. It was
yeah,
like the Von Trapp family. So when you were driving in the car, it was like, what part you taking? Happy birthday was a 4-part experience.
exactly,
And then
exactly.
I
But
met my wife and I realized that there are people who can't sing and shouldn't, you
Well,
know?
interestingly, but I know you could sing, but I was talking about that very cool speking voice you have.
Oh,
You
well,
have a voice that commands people?
I don't know about that, but it doesn't command my kids or my wife. So it may command strangers.
Well,
I think it's the singing voice. I actually had an opera scholarship, so I've got a big voice sometimes.
yeah, well, I think it's cool. I worked in radio for many years, so voice was the thing that just
Oh, I
like,
thought radio was like hey, we're here.
yeah, the Barry White.
Yeah,
But
I got to go by the name.
Barry White, Barry
No,
Coffin.
no,
So
I'm
there you go.
I'm barely white. That's right. Playing you the coolest songs that my race should never touch. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I did grow up, man. Like I said, like neo soul, R&B. That's my jam.
Absolutely. Now, what drew you to music? Was it listening to the radio? I mean, what was it because of your family background, or what drew you to say, "Hey, I'm going to do this for life"?
uh, I I stumbled into. I mean, even though I love music and I see it in my own kids, it's like you can pass on alcoholism and all these other things.
Sure.
You can, like one of the things they found about alcoholics is when they drink, they get higher than a normal person.
Mm,
With music, I watch my kids, and you can watch them grow up. Like they react to it in a higher level. It
yeah.
means more to them
Yeah.
than normal people. You could see from the word go.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, we'd fight for who got the cool chair with the headphones by the turntable. And I would wear every record out, you
Yeah.
know. And so it was always there. Then I was lucky enough to go to the high school for the performing and visual arts in Houston.
Mhm.
And both my sister and my brother went there. So it's all of us. My family, like, because they were so supportive, like, instead of like, my son, the doctor, like my parents kind of wanted me to be a lawyer, but they were thrilled with the music thing. Oh, my son, the musician. They said it like it was a good thing instead of, oh, my son's a musician. So they actually
Exactly.
moved the entire. My brother and I both auditioned at the same time, and we
Mhm.
both got in. We were
Yeah.
out of the school district, so they moved the entire family into the school district.
Really?
So that's you can be a good parent, but when you're saying I will move, and I've done that for one of my kids too. We're zoned to a bad school. We asked my wife asked my daughter, well, how was the junior high? She goes, it looked like a prison.
Oh man.
And I don't know what happened. We call it whirling dervish around here. 2 weeks later, she had found us a new house in a new school district, and I was moving. So we got some get it done stuff going on around here.
Oh, that's
But yeah, my
awesome.
daughter did not, needless to say, go to that school.
That is awesome. How many children you have, may I ask?
Or
Four children. Are
two
they
in
all in music, involved in music?
oh gosh, it looks bad. It looks like three out of four. So
So what are you saying with the
I'm
other
saying it's
one?
a
You're saying,
dominant gene. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that, and the fourth one loves music and goes to see cool bands and used to play upright, bass and stuff. So that's the one that's not musical. So I guess it's probably 4 out of 4.
wow.
Yeah.
That's excellent. But what drew you into it? So you went to the high school in
Mhm.
Houston, and so that was the point where you said, "Okay, this is it. I'm jumping off. I'm going in deep."
It
And
wasn't like that. I was still, that was kind of the worst time of my life because I'd done that. I'd gotten a bunch of scholarships to Juilliard and things, and then my parents were not financially able to do it. We couldn't just do the living expenses.
gotcha.
So I ended up getting an opera scholarship to HBU, which was local, which had a great opera department, but I didn't like opera.
Hmm.
And like you can't, like when you go to that kind of a high school, like they're going, now we're going to sing in Latin. I'm going, I can sight read in Latin. Like you guys are late to the game, man. You don't know where I came from.
Wow.
So there wasn't anything for me. So really, when was great was my daughter ended up going there,
Mhm.
and I was able to say, hey, first we're going to take a year off because they work you so hard that you need the year off chill. And then it was Berkeley, North Texas. Like she had to look at schools if she was going to continue her music education that could continue her music education, not be a rehash. And she ended up picking North Texas and graduated as a jazz vocal major. And and she's now moving into like film scoring. I got her first movie. Um,
Excellent.
and so she's doing good. And then I've got my son's at North Texas now, and he's like a really brilliant lyricist. He's kind of hip hop, really interesting lyrics, like indie hip hop, I guess you would call it.
Wow.
And then I have the 17-year-old Whoops, it's a drummer. So I don't know what to say about that.
That's excellent.
So, and doing beatboxing. So we're hearing all over everything. So
Lots of napkins all over the place.
no, but he's also a TikTok star. He's driving us nuts.
Mm.
What do you want for your bedroom? Lights, so I can light up for my TikTok. Like, oh no, next time you TikTok, please put a shirt on. So again, I'm immersed in everything going on now, whether I like it or not.
So you when you got into it full time, you were a musician first. Did you tour? Did you put a band together? Were you recording?
Well, I went to college twice, which didn't work for me. It just I went to theory. They'd say you can't use 9 chords. I'm going, watch me. They'd give me D's. It's like I wasn't the best student, and it's like I wanted to learn what I wanted to learn, and that was not the place I was at. And then I got a gig playing with a 3-piece at one of like the resorts on the weekend, and my voice lesson was 9 a.m. in the morning, on Monday, like they do to the freshmen, And my voice teacher said, "You're tearing up your voice, man. We're going to take your scholarship." And I went, "Yeah, but I'm making money every weekend more than I could on any crappy job. So
absolutely,
you can have the scholarship." And I was kind of just doing music, playing in bands until I figured out what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt weird. My friends were all going to college and graduating and doing this stuff, and I sort of felt like I'd been playing hooky for 3 or 4 years. And then my bands kept getting better and I kept getting better. So I spent 6 years, and then I woke up about 3 years in and went, that thing you're going to do when you grow up? I kind of think you're doing it.
This is it.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
So I started singing jingles, and I kind of rose to where doing the best stuff I could do in Houston. And then a guy named Steve Tyrell came in, and he was starting a production company with Barry Mann, who's a super famous songwriter. He wrote,
absolutely.
You Lost That Love and Feeling on Broadway, Just Once, Somewhere Out There. I mean, him and his wife, incredible. Some of the greatest songwriters on earth.
Absolutely.
And so I went over there and met with Steve and Barry about working with their company. And Steve's shit was a wild man, which I sort of have accidentally started to model myself after. I walked in and he'd heard my stuff and, knew I was pretty good, but I'm walking in with my then DAT tapes, and he's in the middle of with a director for the movie Extremities with Farrah Fawcett. It was James Russo's first film. And they've got this scene where this guy's in a portion that they're playing rock music and it tears out. And Steve's like, he grew up in the in that part of Cleveland. He's a white Italian guy, but you never know it when you talk to him. So he's going, there, come on in here. What do you got? You got something for this guy? We're working on this movie. And I'm going, okay. I grab my thing, put it in. Yeah, this will work perfect. Go upstairs and have him cut it in.
Wow.
And I'm going like, and that's the kind of thing that'll change your life. And I came back the next time and I put something in 8 Million Ways to Die, which was an Oliver Stone script. And I went, this is easy, wow. Honey, we're leaving, got married, ran off to LA for 20 years and all the adventures began.
Yeah.
And working for those guys, there's where I got all my connections. And they kind of would give me pizza and donuts and shovel the scripts and video there. And that's the only way you can get 200 songs in film that way.
Understood.
So and again, custom writing it. In the 90s, I would be the guy that if you had a bunch of kids and they had a band on TV, I probably was working on it. Wow. I did 5 years of California Dreams, including co-writing the theme. How Do You Talk to an Angel, which I wrote with Steve and Stephanie for The Heights. Yeah. It became a #1 hit. I got nominated for an Emmy on that. I did 75 songs for Kids Incorporated for Disney. I did the vocal arranging and then wrote 10 originals. Mm-hmm. And that was when Fergie from Black Eyed Peas was in it. And Jennifer Love Hewitt when she was 12, Mm-hmm. And I did the vocal arranging for 75 songs. So it's like, I volunteered for that and everybody else was laughing at me.
Oh my goodness.
And then it came out, we had to do them all over the summer. It's like going, and then I did Catwalk for MTV. So I did 4 TV series about kids with a band and older 20-somethings all the way to 14s.
Is that right? Yeah, and that's absolutely amazing. Now, so when you mentioned the fact that you were nominated, I read in one of your bios, and by the way, you have like 120 of them online, but in one of your bios, I read that you stated the Emmy nomination as an L.
Yes, I'm an Emmy loser. I just think that's funnier than, it was just nice to be nominated. It's not just nice to be nominated. You're sitting there at about 10 o'clock, everybody's dancing around. And Emmy, I'm telling you, that's just, if you want to fondle them, I've fondled them all, by the way. The Emmy, she's the one, man. I mean, obviously Oscars got more cachet and Grammys, they're okay. I mean, they mean a lot, but in terms of fondling an award, the Emmy.
Yeah. The Emmy.
They're the shit,
Right.
Sorry.
Right. But you were nominated and you felt like, okay, this is the moment. So what does that moment feel like when they say the other person's name? Is it a letdown or what is it like?
Okay. So they give you 2 tickets to the Emmys. Anything else you got to pay for it at $350 a ticket. And this was 20 years ago. God knows what it is now.
Right.
And so I go, should I take my parents? And when you're in it, the reason so many people make mistakes when they're an athlete or in the thing is you think today is how it's going to keep going. You don't understand that today is like the average NFL running back lasts 2.5 years.
Gotcha.
That's it. And an NFL player, period.
Mm-hmm.
Like for all the guys with the 14-year careers, that's not normal. Right. And I honestly said, I don't know. I don't have the money. My parents don't have the money. Should I do this? I'll just do it next time. I actually thought I'll just invite him to the next Emmy. Wow. Are you an idiot? They give 1 music award at the Emmys. You got a better chance of getting struck by lightning than getting nominated for an Emmy, I mean, it's like there are 240 people struck a year by lightning. Mm-hmm. There are 5 music Emmy nominees,
Understood.
So I did, thankfully, I took my parents there. And so we're there, we rent the limo. We got our limo late, so we were a little bit late because I didn't know that you can't get a limo on Emmy night in LA. Another thing, just if there are any of these that do it, book your limo early. So went there and then, we're sitting there and then when they announced the other people, it was best, best song in a film or whatever. And it was Kander and Ebb won for some Liza Minnelli song. Mm-hmm. And our song went #1. The show was going to be canceled and they didn't cancel it. It got 2 extra weeks of life because they were too embarrassed to cancel the TV show that had #1 hit. Mm-hmm. And it was the first TV theme to be #1 for more than 1 week. And so, and again, we couldn't get up there because Boyz II Men's End of the Road wouldn't go down. it was up for 13 weeks at #1, and we kept beating it in airplay for 6 weeks, but they were selling too many records.
Gotcha.
We finally get there, and who comes screaming up the charts? It would have stayed there if it. I will always. Thanks, Whitney. She comes screaming up, bangs us out.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, so that's the other thing too. When your songs climb the charts, you might as well be watching a football game. You have no control. You're there going, "Go team, go! I hope we win." It's like you're no longer have anything to do with anything.
Man. Right.
Tyrell he'd get the. He had some guys. He came from radio, so we'd find out the day before where we're gonna go in the charts.
Yeah.
But it was interesting.
So who was the winner? Who was he or she who?
Oh, it was Kander and Ebb. They're a famous Broadway kind of writing team.
Gotcha.
And it was like, is that all there is? A Liza Minnelli song for some special.
Mm-hmm.
You're going like, and I, you know what? It probably was a better song. I don't want to admit it, but but I could still mope about it.
But the thing about it is you had the experience, and so that's that's gold right there. It's like, how do you define success? You were there, the limo was late, your parents got to see you. I mean, it happened. So that's fantastic.
The craziest thing about that is, I bought my mom a new dress for it, and my wife took her out and said, went into one of the cool LA shops and goes, her son's nominated for that. And so they went, we got to do this. And so she loved it. It was like, and it was great. And believe it or not, like, this is 2 weeks later, my mom passed away.
Oh my.
And she was actually buried in that dress. And I went, oh my God, what if I'd have not taken her?
Right.
Oh my gosh. I was like, woo, woo, woo. That was like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
That's
I did not do that.
Man.
But it was, I'll have that memory as sort of one of the last parting memories.
Absolutely.
It was sad that we lost and everything, but she was there. I took my mom to the Emmys.
Yes.
And her son was nominated. So that I don't give a crap for me.
That's right. I understand.
And so that was definitely a moment.
My goodness, yeah. What a night. Jiminy.
I'd be lucky than good on that one, man. That was a. But
so you didn't, on the backstory, then you didn't lose anything at all. You had so much to gain because of that.
Well, I mean, and trophies are trophies.
That's true.
They're the weird thing, you don't get a lot from standing on top of the mountain. You get a lot from climbing it.
That's good. Absolutely.
I learn a lot more from my failures than I do from my successes. Success, you sort of have an idea. You can usually point to, that idea you had there, not so good. And you can't be afraid to fail, man. Not in this thing. There's no shame to my game, man. I will go down in flames, bring a crowd.
Man,
Let's go.
You're absolutely right. In fact, that's, the Entre Musician, 80% of it is built on my failures. The advice that I begin to give to others as I grew older is don't do that. Don't do that. don't pick up that person.
They're there for a reason, buddy.
Well, you see what I mean? So
man, I'm looking at you, man. Like, I know. Oh yeah, there's that bad gig over there. And
that's right. That's right. You
want that guitar player you shouldn't have hired? Yeah, there he is. I see him right there.
There he is. I'm telling you. So basically, it's just like parenting. In parenting, I was doing the same thing with my daughters. Here's what you don't want to do. I told them more about what not to do than what to do, what you should do. If you don't do these things, you're on the right road. So
yeah. Well, and we're all going to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
It's what you do afterwards.
Absolutely. Now you have two amazing companies. I'm sure you have more, but you have two amazing companies, at least that I know of, in the sense of musicsupervisor.com and wegetmusic.com. Brilliant companies. Can you tell me their inception? And then can you tell me the differences between the two?
Well, they're going to ultimately be one, believe it or not.
I see.
So I went and did all the stuff in LA and worked on films, and I had a record deal on Warner Brothers in Asia that went double cardboard. I had my own label on Sony and managed to lose more money in less time than I thought possible.
Mm-hmm.
But all great experiences and a bunch of bad publishing deals. So everything, like your wrong thing, I did wrong kind of with the big boys, I did wrong on a big stage. I was a little guy, but big spankings, But I was doing everything, and I was raising my kids and my, my daughters were getting dating age and my sons were coming up, and I had tickets to Fountains of Wayne at the Wiltern. And I said, hey, you want to go to the Fountains of Wayne? Because my son was 9 and he liked Stacy's mom. And I'm going, yeah, you want to go see him? And he goes, do you have backstage passes? Because if not, I don't think so. When you're 9-year-old, he's asking for backstage passes. Okay, yeah. Then my daughters are starting to have dating things and boy-girl parties, and I'm going, this is not fun for me, And my dad had a stroke, and my sister was back in Houston dealing with it. And it was my wife and I were working so many hours. Like, it's tough to, like, we made $250,000 to be broke and eat at Burger King because it's so expensive with the kids and this and that. So my sister had said, hey, I'm getting rid of my house. I'm buying another one. You want to come, And she kind of said, come on, you could, help with dad, blah, blah, blah. So I kept my company in LA and then moved my family back to Houston. And that turned out to be great because they got to learn about their extended family, ruined my daughter's dating life. So they got to college, then went into Don't Ask, Don't Tell land. I'm done. They're both now happily, successfully married.
Right.
And so now I'm just beating up the boys.
There you go.
So it's, we're down to that part. So that all worked good. And so while I was there, I'm going, what am I going to do? And I realized in LA, I started drifting into music supervision, mostly because I wanted to score movies and that was kind of a cool way to do it. But also these indie films, they didn't have enough of a budget. So I used to call myself the music guy. I'd say, okay, what's your budget? All right, give me all your money because you guys don't know how to spend this right. So I'll score it. I'll do the music editing. I'll do the music supervision, all the clearance. I'll do everything.
Yeah.
And I realized there's a million, you're doing it. You get into this scene in the movie where they walk into a bar and Latin band on, Latin music is playing. And I'm going, man, I'm not spending 3.5 days with Shakers trying to make a fake Latin band.
To make that
I would call the Latin music specialist, Daniel Lindart, or my friends or whatever. And I'd say, hey, look, let me license this for the movie. It's a little indie thing, got a couple $100, let's do it,
Yeah.
And when I moved back to Houston, I went, you know what, there's a million programs that'll help me make music, but no one to help me license it. So a friend of mine, Randy Miller, had kind of hooked me up with an oil guy named Jim Stanka. And I said, I'm trying to do this thing. I want to make a software for people to find music to put in films. And he goes, I like movies. My wife likes movie. Will 50 grand get you started? This Texas oil guys, they understand high risk, high reward.
Right.
He does it. He brings in 2 of his friends. Later on, I had a guy named David Skinner who brought in his friends. And I raised the 1.4 million, mostly out of Texas oil guys.
Wow.
And so we built that thing out. We started in 2005. No one you kind of forget that you've got an incredible search engine. And what it does is tell you in 5 seconds, you don't have the music they need. I went, oops. So then cut to 5 years of traveling the globe, every Womex, Me-Dem, everything that I can think of, signing every Lithuanian flute player. Because I knew I don't have a problem finding hip hop or rock or pop.
Sure.
Turkish dance music, I'm in trouble. I'm breaking out a sweat, So I made sure to get a complement of all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so we launched in 2005. Once we hit 8,000 tracks, it really started to get traction. And we built it up since then. And now pretty much whether they know it or not, every major TV studio or film studio is using me, even if they don't know it. The supervisors are going, hey, I need to find one thing. Some guys are really open about doing it. Other people treat me like the dirty secret. Yeah. But it doesn't, my clients don't care. Like if I put your song in there, you're not going to care.
Give it here, right?
Barry, did you get credit for doing that? Because I don't want the money if you're not getting credit, Barry. I can't see you saying that. Dude, you don't need any credit, man. You got all kinds of credits. I've seen your resume. Put my song in there. Let him say he found it, okay?
That's right.
All right, Jerry. All right. He found it. I never pitched you at all. 10 times,
Certainly.
So we did that. We've been pretty successful with that. Then we had all this great music and a great way to find it. But we'll have to pitch a song 1,000 times to get one placement. The numbers are crazy, you know. And it's good, and it's money, and it's effective. But I've got this great music that needs to make more money. So about 5 years ago, we started doing stuff where we supply music in Europe. We've got 50,000 songs making money at retail over there.
Excellent.
We supply the music to 200 Italian grocery stores and Swedish eyeglass huts, and
Yeah.
all these other places. So we've got guys making it's pieces of a penny,
Yeah.
but it starts to add up.
Oh, sure.
And then when COVID hit, I've been starting to do. I had an idea, a concept about, gosh, I want to say 7 years ago. No,
Mhm.
no, let me think. I'm lying. Oh my God, it's worse than that. I had the concept was 11 years ago. I called it
Mm.
Indie Safari, and I went, what if there was a discovery site? And I tried to put in every way that you find new music.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the We Get Music is going to be that. It's a way to find music every way you can find music.
Gotcha.
We've got the search engine. It's going to have playlists, radio stations, all these discovery elements.
Yes.
And so, in doing that, that's telling me that you've got a call.
Yeah.
And in doing that, I started developing this We Get Music, and was going to be the idea was to make a streaming platform that's fair, that not only pays per stream fairly, but also pays all the people to the food chain. Not
Mhm.
here's to the label, here's to the writer and publisher. Good luck, guys.
Right.
I hope it trickles down to everyone else.
Sure.
Trickle down, not so much trickling down.
That's right.
Really, I think to change the world, it's build up.
Mm-hmm.
Flow up is how it needs to work. And
Certainly.
just in general.
Absolutely.
And so COVID, I took out some SBA loans rather than fire anybody, and we pivoted during COVID. We pivoted to 100% of our energy to the music discovery site.
Mm-hmm.
And so now what we're going to do is we're going to basically raise about $1 million on a convertible note.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to leverage everything into the Music Supervisor platform, and $1 million and fold that into the new entity. And so I'm having investor meetings and doing all that. I'm basically betting the farm because that's what I do.
Man. Entre musician, you take the risk. You have the dream. The one thing I failed to say before asking that question, and I really do like what you're doing with respect to those of us whom you've invited to the table to say, hey, here's what the blueprint looks like. Here's what the dream is. Show me where the rocks are, and you've invited us to weekly meetings where we're helping you build that. I don't feel that I'm much of a help, but I'm learning so much in the process of hearing from others. Hey, did you think about this? What was that about? Because that shows to me your generosity, even on the front end, while you're still putting the thing together.
You're being really nice.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
No, but I mean,
I'm saying, wow. I'm saying there have been people who have had ideas and it's like cloaked and don't bother me about it. But to be able to say, here's a great idea that's going to benefit you, that is going to help you get to the next level. While I'm putting together, why don't you come to the table and let's talk about it?
Well, there's two reasons I went that way. And it's one is with Music Supervisor. When I first built that software, I knew every part of the equation. So I did do more of a closed thing. Look, I know what everything needs to be. I build the whole thing. I take it out in the marketplace. They use 30% of what I built. I wasted tons of time and tons of money building stuff nobody wanted.
Understood.
So I went, as God is my witness, I shall never do that again. And so when I went to do this, I said, again, because my real goal was to fix the music business.
Yeah.
Like, having had the relationships, on like, I love being on a major label. When they love you and they want to do something. I was on Warner in Asia, and I walked into Malaysia and nobody knew me. 2 weeks later, I am signing autographs at the restaurant.
Wow.
When a major label back in the day wanted to make you somebody, I mean, whoo, could they do like I saw on their board, they said, yeah, put Barry over Phil Collins and Madonna. He's our top priority while he's here.
Jiminy.
I know. They would pick me up at 6 o'clock in the morning and drop me back off at 11 at night.
Wow.
And it was press conference, this, that, radio interview. I even snuck on and did an opening slot. And in there, they're going, we don't have the thing. So if the police come, we'll get you out of jail. But do you want to do this? And I'm going, yeah. Yeah, I was in pretty good shape. I ran okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so they got me out of there, and then I ended up singing at an event for the King, at the time. And he's the guy with the money. Like, you're going, that was weird because then you can't turn your back. You have to back up and then so it's
wow.
it was I've had for somebody who didn't travel at all. I didn't get airplanes until I was like 17, and I sure made up for lost time. But
Mhm.
having those experiences, I wanted to fix the music business. There were some great things, there's some terrible things. So
Mhm.
really, ultimately, I kind of it's morphed into if you could put one thing on my tombstone, he fixed the music business, made it
Wow,
fair.
that's
That would
excellent.
be that would be my calling. That's all I need. Don't care about anything else.
That's
Making it
excellent,
better for my friends, and the people that come after me. So
man.
with that in mind, I said, look, I'm building this for us, and it's so all encompassing that we do, like you said, I've got the thing I have to leave in 30 minutes is to do one of those calls.
Right.
But and I broke it up into industry people, where it's like you've been a big help, and we're going to be a bigger help on the podcast thing,
Yeah.
because we're going to incorporate that in there, and your
Absolutely.
experiences doing this. Why wouldn't I talk to you? Why wouldn't I say, here's what I'm
No.
thinking? Where am I missing it? And so we've got that. We've got artists. We've got industry people. We've got tech calls where we have people doing bugs things. I found this that's broken.
That's
That
right.
thing. Then we next thing we're adding is a music thing where we're making playlists and radio stations with guys that are experts. So we
Yeah.
get guys around the world, people in France making our indie French playlist. Like it's very international. And
Yeah.
I'm bringing in guys who know. I mean, I'm going the opposite of AI. I'm bringing in human intelligence.
Man, that's excellent. That's excellent to be able to say because I mean, absolutely, AI has its place,
Yeah.
but AI can never anticipate on the dime what the human intuition will tell you. Hey, that's working. That's not.
Well,
You know.
AI is great at like when it comes to crunching numbers and
Mhm.
and giving you more of what you like. You can't beat AI.
Yeah.
AI done right can do that. What
Sure.
AI can't do, it can't tell you about the music you've never heard that you might like.
Yeah.
It cannot do discovery. I don't know if it'll ever be able to do discovery. And again, there's an argument that there is no true AI. It's machine learning.
Mm,
That's a if you're going to be technical about it, and that's a debate that
right.
we can have. But
Right.
most people that I know that that I respect,
Hmm.
we're really not talking about true AI yet. We're talking about machine learning, and it's basically it takes a lot of numbers and can really see some things we wouldn't see. So we'll do some stuff with AI,
Yeah.
but just not music curation.
Understood. Now, for those of you who have been watching the Entre Musician, been listening on the podcast, you know that we started several months back having some bonus features. So I'm going to ask Barry a couple more questions, but back at the Backstage Pass, if you click on the entremusician.com, there's going to be a bonus feature where Barry's going to get a little deeper into what We Get Music will mean for you. So if you're a subscriber, you'll get that. If you want to be a subscriber, jump onto the entremusician.com, and that's the only way you'll get that conversation. But what I want to do, Barry, is I do want to ask just for general public. So if someone goes to musicsupervisor.com, are they music supervisors or are they artists who can just submit their music to Music Supervisor and look at being placed, or what's the procedure there?
So it's rolling. We're about to change it, but right now it's got music, need music. Click on the right
Gotcha.
button.
Got music,
And
need music.
yeah. And
Okay.
so eventually we're going to move the like we're still going to have the got music thing, but it's going to take them over to We Get Artists in about next 2 or 3 weeks.
Gotcha.
But they can still find it from Music Supervisor. So it's a great place. It's musicsupervisor.com. And our deal with the artist, it's non-exclusive. You can
Mhm.
leave anytime. It's free. We get paid when you get paid. We basically split the front money. You keep all the ownership and the royalties.
Mhm.
And basically, unknown artist with an unknown song, there's only so much we can get. So for every dime we make you up front, there's probably 3 dimes over the next 10 years that
Sure.
you'll make. So
Sure.
it ends up being our cost is about like about 12.5%, which
Understood.
is like an agent's fee. Now, once in a while, somebody gets screwed, but
Yeah.
most of the time, it's you guys get screwed more. I get screwed harder. I don't know if that helps.
That helps because
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing about it is, and I mean this transparently, in sitting in the meetings and you talking about what your heart is and how you want the musicians to be paid, how you want the artists to be preference first. I mean, I see it. I can say without endorsement from you, this is real. So once it launches, it's going to be absolutely amazing.
I'm excited.
NFL. Definitely. Now, what have you found to be your greatest challenge as you've been in this industry and you've seen the technology change? You've seen the old style music labels go out the door and give way to the streaming services. For you in your business and what you do, what's been the greatest challenge for you?
Right now, the greatest challenge for all of us is keeping up.
Mm.
Like when I do a conference, and we used to do them once a year. I'm doing them 3 times a year,
Mhm.
not just to help the artists, but for the industry people. We all get together and go, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" Like I can't. I feel less caught up than I ever have in my entire life,
I
and
see.
so that's a big problem. The number one problem, if I were to look at, there's sort of 3 things that are a problem for independent musicians.
Mhm.
One are the major labels doing what they do. We know what
Yeah.
they do. They buy the playlist, they bribe radio, they do what they do. If you're
Right.
on them, great. If you're not, you're in trouble. They're in their music business, not the music business. The same thing with when it comes to streaming services. Apple's about selling hardware. Spotify is about selling advertising. They're not
Mhm.
really in the music business. They just want the eyeballs that care about
Yes.
the music.
Yes.
The thing that's killing us the most is social media.
Mhm.
We've gone and we've made these platforms like Google, like almost half of every search on there is search for movies or film.
I
We
see.
bring the eyeballs, but when it comes time to pay us, no. Like on YouTube right now, and I don't know how long this will be good
Yeah.
for. You have to have 1,000 subscribers,
Mhm.
4,000 watch hours in the last 12 months, and then they will begin giving you a piece
Sure.
of the advertising that they sell. And
Sure.
they sent out a new thing and said, "Hey, man, if your kids are doing it on YouTube, you agree to our policy,
Right.
and we're making money off your kids too.
Right. That's
Your
right.
kid, little Billy, wants to make some money. Tell him get some subscribers."
There you go. That's absolutely right. You're right
Yeah.
about that. Conversely, what do you think in this same changing environment has been your greatest triumph? I mean, you've been able to see things before others could see them. Is there some triumphs that you can tout?
I would say that I saw streaming before anyone else did, in
Mhm.
terms of it being the future, because it's the thing that fixes everything. Because if you pay $10 a month, whether you know it or not, you're paying $120 a year for
That's
music.
correct. That is
When was the
correct.
last time you bought $120 worth of CDs?
It's amazing, right?
Yeah, it's back. As much as you can hate Daniel at Spotify, he
Yeah,
did show the way.
he did. Yeah,
You
he's a
know,
drummer too, by the way. I thought, hey man,
yeah, exactly. Well, that explains everything.
right. That's absolutely right. Final question, man, because there has to be a question that you anticipated that I would ask, and I haven't asked it. And it
Really?
disappointed you so much. You said, Jerry, what's wrong with this guy? Answer that question anyway.
What question didn't you ask? Wow, I don't know. I don't know if there was anything, and I'm because you and I have talk often, and yesterday we had such a long talk.
Right. We
I,
should have
I,
recorded that,
I'm
right?
sort yeah, I'm sort of no. I'm glad we didn't do some of that, but yeah, that would have been a different podcast.
Exactly right.
Yeah, it's like you want your race, your politics. What do you want to talk about? We talked
Right.
about everything,
We went
raising
through the
kids,
gambit.
everything.
And we'll do that, because this won't be your last time on, obviously. We'll do that because there's so much in culture and music. I mean, there's a marriage there and deciphering what's right, what's wrong, what are we trying to get right? I mean, because you
Yeah.
go back into the Bob Dylan, the Joan Baez, we kind of talked about that a little bit. Speaking truth to power through the music is a very effective medium. But that's not the question I asked you.
Okay. Something.
Okay?
Um, all right. I would have thought, that you would say, "Hey, this new crazy platform you're doing. How do we get involved?"
Well, that's what we're going to talk about in the backstage pass.
Oh, I thought we
'Cause
were already in the backstage.
no, we're not in the backstage yet, buddy.
Oh, okay. So it's like, oh, okay. The last thing that you didn't ask.
Right.
I'm trying to think of something good to answer. Um, you know, gosh, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe maybe something about you know the songwriting or production or what my thoughts are on that. Maybe
Go
delve
for it.
into that.
Go for it.
I'll tell you what I always like because I'm a little bit of a production nerd. Like of
Mhm.
all the things I do, write and produce is the best thing. The business stuff, I'm decent for a musician,
Mhm.
but I'm not as good as I am at the other part of it.
Exactly.
And
We
so
all feel the same
my
way.
new trend for making records is to go in with a live rhythm section, track great guys. You know, first off, pre-production, make it a great song. Don't record an okay song. There's 70 million songs on Spotify. The world doesn't need any more good. It needs great.
Man, that's fantastic.
You know, and so go in, get some guys, you know, track it. And then when I do the overdubs after that, I treat the drummer as if he were God of rhythm, you know.
Mhm.
So I don't like, because we're so used to perfection with all the program stuff. So
Exactly.
everything's got to be in tune, in time, but it doesn't feel as good. So
Yeah.
by taking that drummer, then when I go and do overdubs, loops, or keyboards, I will line everything up to the kick and snare.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's got the same live band 70s feel, but they're perfect. They're
Yeah.
nailing it. And again, I know people, I don't want to auto tune. Dude, everything's perfectly in tune. In the
Mhm.
70s, guitars, like Rolling Stones guitars, are you kidding me? They were in the ballpark, you know? So nobody's going, I think, is Mick Sharp? I'm not sure. Let me check against the guitar. Well, holy, that is a proverbial nerd show, you know? So don't be afraid to use that stuff, but don't use it because you can't sing,
Exactly right.
you know? And
Yeah.
so to me, it's do that, make it great, make it perfect. I will spend on average 10 hours on a vocal,
Mhm.
you know, and I'll do it, I'll comp it. I have a way that I do those things.
Mhm.
But I also do it through a great mic chain, you know?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's a $5,000 Neumann. Like,
Yeah.
you can't do everything in your closet. If you're a great singer, go to a great studio.
Yeah.
It's worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying.
I have a little bit of, especially as far as a love for singing. I can't sing, don't sing, but a love for it. And there are some ways. I mean, of course, there's Melodyne, there's autotune, what have you. But there's something to be said about some of the natural end. You can't make it robotic. You have to
Oh, no,
tweak
no,
it.
don't make it
You know
perfect.
what I mean?
Make it better.
But that natural has to be organic and in there. So I'm with you on that.
Well,
Absolutely.
yeah, Melodyne, you could see like uh, where you're naturally going flat and you never
Sure.
noticed it.
Right.
So just take it up. So, you know, if you're bending it a little over, you
Mhm.
know, some of the funny part is uh, you can land a little flat, don't land a little sharp.
Yeah.
Like there's certain things you'll notice from working with those things, but don't make it perfect.
Exactly right.
The guys that do that, it sounds terrible.
No,
Make it better. Get the egregious things out of there.
I absolutely agree with you. Well, this is going to be one part because Barry's on a tight schedule. If he wasn't, we'd be talking here for 5 hours. We almost did last night.
I
But
know.
this is one part of him coming back many, many times. You're going to love what he does. You'll check out We Get. You'll check out Music Supervisor. We're going to have all of his credentials down below in the comments so that you can get in touch with him for you. But he is the ultra entre musician. He's doing it all. I mean, and he's doing it all. We love him for it. That's Barry Coffin. My name is Jerry B. We're entre musicians, but you know what? So are you. So we will see you again soon. God bless.